road Atlanta, baby. Here's a hot lap taken from the race, coming across the start finish. Gonna head down to T1. You want to go left to right drastically. There's more room here than I gave it, but plenty of downforce in the LMP2. Turn 3 is here to the right, a blind crest. Super difficult and fun to figure out. And now we head into the S's. Yep, right here, 4 and 5. A lot of fun. You can go out wide here to the right and not receive a penalty, but there are landmines out there. Not only glitches, but crazy undulations with the curbs. Now we're at the back end of the circuit into a boot section with turns 6 and 7. And then finally down the straight. So as you can see, there's a lot of difficult turns, some off-camber turns. So passing down the main straight, we're going to see throughout the race, including coming down into here, turn 10A, where you try to outbrake somebody, but you can go too wide through both of these turns if you're respectful. Then you do this another blind crest and do a double apex, I guess you could say, across the start finish. So one of my favorite tracks. It's one of the first tracks I ever learned to sim race with a wheel and pedals, so it's near and dear to my heart. Here we go. We're gonna have lap 1. I qualified 8th. The field is 15 strong for the crowd favorite. Got a lap counter in the bottom right, including a position counter for my position, currently in P8. Justin got pole, followed by, I believe it's Michael Day, and then a newbie on site in the white car. I guess his livery didn't load properly with the trading paints. Here's that blind crest. You can see how stiffly sprung these cars are. Too stiff, if you ask me. And here's the other angle of the S's. Very dramatic from this perspective, but super cool to see. You can see the GT3s in the background. I can't render all cars on the circuit at once. It's just too much of a performance hit, so I only render some of them. But so far, we're pretty clean here. No passes. Everyone is just following one after the other. But here comes the straight. So this is where, if you have the opportunity to slipstream, you can go to max speed in this car, close to 300 kilometers per hour. I don't think I actually looked at the top speed. And we see Day with the pass, and then you see me break out wide. Gonna try and make a pass here on Andrew. I come out here wide to the left. I also don't want to hit him under braking, but I just want to be in his mirrors, cause a problem. But I caused too much of a problem. And there's contact. That's right. 4 out of the 5 races so far this season have a lap 1 incident. Here's Andrew's onboard. He just kind of throws it in cold tires and it just steps out sideways. Looks like his brake bias was too far forward as well. A lot of things going wrong there. So come to lap 2. We've already seen 2 clumps. We've got the Mad Clump and the Mad guys and Clump 2. And then where am I? Look at the disadvantage now. Way down the field in P13. And there comes the GT3s. So on to lap 2, we're on board Cody going through this tight section. He has all 3 Mad cars in front of him, but he hits that curb sideways. You've really got to straighten up the car before going across these. Watch how they bounce across these bumps. See one car here step out wide but collect it, and then he didn't get it going straight. The rear hips of the car kind of swinging over the curb and bucking wild. Now we're on board Kyle here. He's got a good run. He's in 3rd place. Now we're just beginning to lap the GT3 cars on lap 3. He goes out for a pass on Justin, but cold tires. He sent too much torque to the rear wheels and something gave way. Just broke through on the traction side. Now we're going to go to my cockpit camera so we can see him out in the gravel out there as I swoop through and I'm able to gain a position, jumping up to P11. Now we're in the next lap following Zach in behind Justin here. So these guys are 1 and 2, again lapping GT3 traffic. Whoa! You see some other cars populate, but he gave himself a little bit of an exit line and crazy crash avoidance there. That was similar to what I was kind of afraid of on lap 1. I didn't want to go for a pass because I didn't want something like that to happen. And you can see this excruciating waiting for everyone to go by. He can't just jump on circuit. We could see the incident up above. We got local yellows, so I'm not supposed to be doing passes here, although the enforcement isn't automatic. It would take a complaint from somebody, which nobody does. So moving on now to lap 5, we're on board Cody. He's tucked in. Looks like he's content to sit back, not make a pass. Makes a mistake on his downshifts and then panic brakes, just spikes way too much brake pressure and then locks up some tires and goes for a spin. And again, he has to spin into the gravel and avoid traffic in an unsafe rejoin. So meanwhile, I'm in it's lap 6. I'm now in P9, and then I have Kyle, who spun out earlier, chasing me down. And I was a little surprised he caught up to me this quickly. But if you look from this TV coverage, if you look at my right rear tire, or that area of the car, the bodywork is actually damaged. So I yield here, and we'll switch cameras to get a better view of how this right rear is damaged. Now when I come in here for the last turn, I ride these curbs, and it got very upset. And I knew I had some damage, but I didn't know what it was during the race. And if I had a spotter, maybe I'd know. There's the onboard of that moment. Pretty hairy. So here's the replay. I wanted to go back and look and see how did the rear of my car get damaged. If you missed it, watch the right rear. You'll see a car go by, and there's the infamous iRacing netcode claiming there was contact and damage. Not from my perspective, but the server thinks so. Now back on board my car, cutting through GT3 traffic. That was a pretty aggressive dive right there, but I was feeling good. I was getting closer to these guys. The damage where it is on the car for this type of circuit, it's totally fine because there's a lot of these right-handers, and having damage to that part of the car is not a big deal. So I'm coming through here feeling pretty good, not really knowing how damaged the car is. And then I drift out just a little wide here, and I catch some grass. Spins me around. I was in P10 and gaining, but there goes P11. Oh no. And I decide, you know what? I'm going to try and make a pit, because I was told my pit window opens up at 16 minutes into the race. At that point in time, it was 14 minutes of race time. So it was a rushed decision to get in here. But if I can save about a lap's worth of fuel over the next 30 minutes, maybe I could make it to the end of the race. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Now watch the right rear again. You can see how the damage model gets repaired in iRacing. It's not like these big chunks come on and off the car. It's an optional repair. At any point I could drive away, but I wait for the 30 seconds, which I had sped up there, for it to complete, and then I go back to the circuit. Now my car is fully repaired, as I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it's fully repaired for the damage model that's being simulated, and I'm ready to get back at it. So lap 14, my car is repaired, and I come around the boot, and there's just 3 LMP2s all facing the wrong way. What the hell happened here? We'll switch to a TV camera. These guys get through okay. The next guy gets through okay. Now if you look at the white car and the Mad Sim car, you see him spin himself around and causing chaos. Oh my. So let's go on board with Andrew here. He's got the inside line. Everything's okay. He's doing fine. And just too much brake, and he should have been doing some downshift, so he ends up clipping a couple guys, and then there's a Andrew v. Andrew face-off here. And so I'm able to come through and pass those two guys, but because I had done the pit stop, I'm actually a lap behind, so I don't gain positions on them in that moment. So here it is from the other Andrew's perspective. Man, looked like he got caught spectating and forgot there's a GT3 next to him, and he didn't know what to do. So even though I'm a lap down, these guys all have to pit, and they have that damage to repair as well. So they're going to be pitting around lap 20-something. That's their window. And so though I will be getting some passes that are happening while they're in the pit lane. So right now we're on board Matt. See a tire lockup from Andrew in front of him. Looks like Matt's going to have a really good run. Tucks into the slipstream. Andrew takes the inside line. Wow, but Matt gets off the throttle and brings in the clutch to do some fuel saving, even though he could have completed a pass, and then I drive by right there. I mean, that's the place to do fuel saving. I just don't know if that's the situation. Here I do it. I mean, it's a total coincidence that it was at the same turn on the same lap. But you know, that's how you do your fuel saving. It's also throttle lifts towards the end of the straight. Now we're back on board Matt. He's done his pit stop and is now behind me. Oh, but he goes in sideways over the curbs, kicks the car out. Very common Road Atlanta mistakes, especially for that section. And he ends up getting turned around. Now back on board Andrew. Coming down to turn 10. Oh, just gets his downshifts wrong. Oh no, and kicked to the blimp. He's had too many incidents, and he's kicked out of the race on lap 23. I'm now in P7 again because of the pits, some of the pit strategy that's gone on. And now we're at lap 36. Day is chasing down first place. 2 laps to go. He tries to split the GT3s. He gets kicked to the blimp. Oh my God, what was he thinking? End up looking at the stats afterwards. Michael just set the fastest lap of everybody. He comes flying in here thinking he's a goddamn hero. It ends up hitting 3 cars. Oh, Daniel goes for a ride. Oh my goodness. Anyway, back on board with me. Things are getting tight. I am just clutch in, off throttle, coasting down a hill. We've got lap 36, 37, and 38 to go, so I believe I'm down to under a gallon. I have to make it around for 2 laps. Meanwhile, here's Justin. He's in the lead, cruising, and he is, you can't quite see him up ahead. He's on my ass, just 5 seconds behind me. So I want to stay on the lead lap in case there's some late shenanigans. Here we have Doug, last week's winner on the penultimate lap, the second to last lap. He's coming through looking a bit sluggish, and he is out of fuel. He has to go into the pit lane and just get a quick sip. And so it gives me an opportunity. Again, the fuel alarm is on. I have under a gallon to try and get through now. And I come through, see him pit, and then this Mercedes hits the curb and gives me no room whatsoever. I tuck in right behind him, just thinking, oh my God, I could have wrecked right there. But I don't. I come through in P5 to finish a crazy race around Road Atlanta. Whew. See you next week.